Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and Merry Christmas. In today's Christmas special, I will cover 3 topics which were requested by you. Now we will be talking about an invasion of the UK when things are far from optimal using this save which was sent by a member of the channel. Then we will be talking about the exact fleet positioning to invade the Netherlands as the Soviet Union, since that is a question I got a lot recently. And finally, as a special member request, we will be talking about the best template and strategy to use to invade the UK, specifically as Italy. As always guys, if you have been enjoying the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment. Alright, let's start with this save as Hungary, which you sent. I love the fact that you called it Bloody British. Perfect name. Now, in this run, you struggled a bit. I can tell that because I can see that Poland is a bit messed up in here. And you also told me you couldn't get the invasion of the UK done. You struggled a lot with this invasion. Now, I'm really glad you sent this save because it allows me to talk about a tougher type of invasion of the UK and why the UK sometimes is much harder to fight and to invade than in the dedicated video I made last week. Now, first of all, let's give it a try with the setup that you selected and see what happens and why it is tough. So we can start our naval invasion. Well, they immediately intercepted our fleet, but especially they have a lot of divisions along the coast. We can use a force attack. We even managed to disembark in here. We can probably manage to take the harbor. Yeah, so far it's actually even going alright. The problem that I think you also faced is not with disembarking, but in the part that comes right after it. And that is because the UK has a lot of divisions in here. Now, we cannot exactly see them at the moment, but what we can see is that we are really struggling to push into the UK at this time. Okay, now we can see their divisions, and it is a fair amount of divisions. It's a bit more than the divisions they usually have at this point of the run. Well, to be honest, it's not even going that bad, but yeah, we get stuck at some point. We cannot push them anymore. We're starting to struggle with supplies, and I think eventually if we keep the speed up, they will break us and they will destroy our units, which I assume is the issue you were having. Now, if you look at the amount of divisions they have in here, this is absolutely insane. It's already very, very difficult to push them. And this is actually what some of you told me in the comments under my last dedicated video. You said, well, but the UK in my run has a lot more divisions than in your run. How is that? Why is that? Okay, now let's talk about what the issues are with this setup. The main and biggest issue here is you forgot to update the offensive template. Now, this is the default 18 width template, but this is not the template I was using in my run. Now, I simply think you forgot to change it because you did produce the improved artillery like I did in my run. So you have enough artillery to update this design, you just didn't do it. So what I would recommend doing is adding 2 artillery battalions and 3 infantry battalions for a 12-2. Total 30 combat width, and as you can see, this is a massive boost to our soft attack. So 297 with this design, 179 with this one. That is a very, very big difference. This is not the only issue, however. Another big issue is, I don't know if you have La Resistance, but if you do, you really should make an agency and you should use spies to spy the southern coast of the UK. And that is another massive boost to your units. It debuffs their units, it reduces the entrenchment bonus, for example, it removes their planning, so it is a massive boost in the invasion. Now, another potential issue that I see in here is that you did make the F2 design, but I don't think you produced enough of them. I'm not entirely sure about this though. It depends also on when you started the war against the UK, because of course after you start the war you will not get rubber anymore, so it becomes much harder to produce planes. But as you can see, they destroyed our planes very quickly, so I assume you didn't make enough. Anyway, that's not something you can fix at this point. Now it's too late for that, so... Now, another important thing you can do to improve the situation here is you can pick the infantry specialist. That's another 5% extra attack and 10% extra defense on your divisions. That's quite important. And you also didn't pick the spirits. The last spirit, like smoke and fire, can be very convenient, and at that point you can also pick a tactic. Now actually breakthrough is amazing, I didn't even have it at this point of the run, but suppressive barrage is another great option, so either breakthrough or suppressive barrage will do. Just pick a favorite tactic and don't forget to pick it on your generals as well. You have some very good generals, so remember to pick one of the 2 in here as well. But then there is another very, very important difference between your run and the other runs I showcased. And that is, at the moment, the UK only has one front to worry about. They can easily have all of their divisions in here because they are not fighting anywhere else in the world. Now, the main difference is in my run, we puppeted Ethiopia and we puppeted North Africa. So you got Italy, you took Italy, I can see here, but you did not puppet these parts of Italy, Ethiopia and North Africa. And while we wouldn't be fighting in there, we would force the UK to leave some divisions along that border. The UK would waste a lot of divisions along the border with Ethiopia and along the border with Libya. Now let me show you very quickly. So this is my run with Hungary when I invaded the UK. Slightly earlier than in your run, but not a big difference. And again, as you can see, we have the right template in here. We have the spy network at 70% in the UK. That's massive. Look at the invasion defense and planning speed buffs, but especially look at the max planning and max entrenchment debuffs for the UK, as well, of course, as the naval intel efficiency that we get as a boost in the channel. Then I do believe we have a fair amount of F2 in this run, but I'm not sure that's the main difference. We are not at war with Poland yet, but that shouldn't change that much. But as I was mentioning, we have these Austro-Hungarian North Africa. And although we don't have Ethiopia, we do have this Eritrean kingdom, and we have this Somali Sultanate, which again is enough to force the UK to send some of their divisions down there. Let me see if I can show you that exactly. So if I reload this game and join as the UK, by the way, you cannot do this on Iron Man, but we can do it now to show you. You can see that they have less divisions in the mainland, and that is because they actually have some divisions along this border, some divisions here, they have divisions in here, and I do believe they have quite a lot of divisions. Look at that, they have quite a lot of divisions along these two borders. Now, all of these divisions, instead of being here, including, by the way, not only the UK divisions, but their puppets and Free France as well, they will all be in the UK. So that's why you sometimes face a lot more divisions in the UK than I faced in my run. Now, of course, in your run, that's not an issue that you can fix anymore, but this should be a good explanation for all of the other people that ask me, why does the UK have much more divisions in my run compared to yours? Well, of course, the more active fronts they have in the world, the more divisions they will have spread around and not able to fight you in the UK. Okay, so let me reload this save in which I fixed most of the issues that I mentioned. So in this is your run, by the way. Here I fixed the template. Of course, after fixing the template, you also need to train all of your divisions. So that took some time. It's now a bit later, which will also make the UK a bit stronger. I also slightly changed the invasion plan. This is not a massive difference, but I find it slightly better in this way. So you send 2 from here and 4 from here. They will be slightly faster. Another thing you can do, I didn't do it here, but you can remove 14 divisions from here. So the ones that don't have any plan assigned, the invasion plan assigned, you can remove them from the invasion army. In this way, you can use force attack more cheaply, potentially use it more than once. And then you can just send the other divisions over. By the way, I also split them, 9 in here and 5 in here, so they can go a bit faster. Of course, I gave them... oh, I didn't give them the spirit, actually. The spirit is useful, and the tactic. So yeah, I will go for with suppressive barrage just because I usually pick suppressive barrage. But breakthrough is better, so you should probably go for that. Now, one important difference compared to your run is it is better, in my opinion, not to kill Poland entirely. So what I did is I isolated them from the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union will declare war on them later. In this way, they cannot do anything. But if we keep Poland alive in here, this will divert, hopefully, some of the French and maybe even British divisions from the mainland. So as I was mentioning earlier, having more fronts open for them is better for us. We cannot do anything about that in this area, so nothing we can do there. But these should help a little bit. Now, I also started creating an agency, but unfortunately it takes too long to build a network, so we cannot do much in that sense. You would have to wait for several months, and it's already late, so I think we will have to do it without. And, well, just make sure to assign all of your planes in here, and maybe train them a bit. Having them even just at trained level is better, so your planes were not trained at all. If you could get them all the way up to regular, that would be much, much better, but... And nothing. At this point, I think we can trigger our naval invasion. So let's go on and do it. They do have a lot of divisions. There is nothing we can do about that along the front again. This is the only thing they have to do at the moment. And we're also a bit late. So Nothing we can do there, but usually disembarking is not a problem. As you can see, you can use force attack to make sure you do disembark. Okay, that's great. And then do micromanage a little bit here, and that's also quite important. Try to expand right away. So here, for example, try to expand immediately. Perfect. Try to go for Bristol. As you get Portsmouth. Naval invasion forces are usually enough to get Portsmouth. Here, for example, we can try to go in there. Okay, perfect. We kill them here, which means we can send over these additional divisions. Let's go in here. Let's send over all of the additional divisions. Let's also send over our second army. Now that we disembarked, we can set the planes and assign them all to our army. As for the fleet, you can decide what you prefer to do. At some point, initially at least preserving the supplies a little bit will help. And then at some point, we will need to remove it or lose it. It's up to you. After defeating the UK, we'll take their fleet, so I guess it doesn't matter that much. And we can merge these units back into these ones. Leaving the fleet there initially gives us some naval bombardment bonus, which is good. So that helps. Keep going. The early part of the expansion is the most important one. So here, despite the fact that they have a lot of divisions, we can still push them. Now, one reason pushing them early is so important is that you mess up their plans to send over additional divisions. Now, the UK is sending over all of the divisions they have in here in the colonies. And if you take their harbors, those divisions will no longer be able to go there. They will be diverted to a different harbor. They will waste some time. They will take longer. So that really helps. Now, we're also pushing them in December, which is not ideal, but we do what we must. We did get our spy, and I guess you could use it. No, I misclicked. Well, forget about our spy. See, I make mistakes. I make big mistakes, like in this case. But we're also killing quite a lot of their divisions in there. We are getting to the point where they have a lot of divisions. Okay, now see, the Soviet Union declared war on Poland, but that's alright for us because they cannot get to them. And a lot of French divisions are in Poland. Those French divisions would all be in the UK if you didn't have the war with Poland. So if you already defeated Poland. Now the UK attempted a counter invasion in here. This is a tough invasion that you're facing, but if they counter invade, that's quite good because you can kill a lot of their divisions out. We just destroyed so many of their divisions in there. So if you get to a stalemate like we did here, we really struggle to advance past this line. You can stall the war a little bit and you can destroy them when they attempt invasions, like in this case. And I think now we may have a window. Ah, this is unlucky. Good timing for them. And we're finally breaking them. Maybe too late. Okay, big encirclement here. This one will massively help. Look at the amount of divisions they have in here. Oh, this is very satisfying to see. We will take care of this other counter invasion. Look at these divisions they had in here. It's like 41. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. But they are weakening their northern front. That should be enough for us. Okay, they somehow left Newcastle. This should be the end. That's the end. Well, a tough one for sure. I'm not going to lie. This is a tough invasion. And the reason this is so tough is that, yes, they have more divisions, but also we cannot fully take advantage of our momentum. That's because it's a bit later in the game. And that's because of all of the reasons I explained earlier. So this is going to be a tough invasion. I think this is a very good challenge. So keep this save. I will, by the way, upload my fixed save. So the one in which you have the right divisions, the spy network, the situation with Poland and everything. I will upload it into the disaster save category on the members folder, so you can access it, you can download it, you can experiment with this one. The other members too, of course, not only you that sent the save. This is a very challenging and interesting invasion of the UK, so you can practice a lot with this one. Well, for now, we'll just confirm. But of course, you shouldn't just confirm, you should take everything. I think we were barely in time in terms of the United States joining, but, well, in the end, we got it done. What else matters? So I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments how it goes, and if you do start this run again, Don't forget about the spies, the spy network, and also, of course, the division template. This template is very good, and it proved so. We wouldn't have gotten it done with the 18 with template. Okay, then let's move on to the next topic. This one is a bit easier, luckily. So, as you know, with my Soviet Union strategy, we plan a naval invasion of the Netherlands early. That's extremely convenient because we get a lot of extra rubber from the Dutch colonies. So this naval invasion is very important for our run. But a lot of you struggle with the naval superiority to achieve and to start this invasion. So let me explain how it works. And there was indeed a minor change, but an important one compared to when I made the guide. The range of submarines was reduced, so now you need to set up your fleet slightly differently. But first of all, let's see what happens if you try to assign your fleet from Leningrad. This can be a guide on naval invasions in general, not specifically this one. So if we try to set them on naval invasion support, we can easily get it in the first 3 regions here, but we cannot get it in the other 3 regions that we need to invade the Netherlands. Now, the reason why we cannot do that is that not all of these boats have enough range to get there. Specifically, if you take all submarines and you check their range, you will see that now submarines can only get up to this point. They cannot get to these 3 regions. If we take all destroyers, you will also see that destroyers have an even smaller range. They can only get up to here, which means you cannot assign them to naval superiority in this region. They literally cannot go there, so you cannot assign them to that region. However, the boats we are left with, which are battleships and light cruisers, have enough range to cover all of the necessary provinces. So they can give us the superiority in the 3 regions we lack. So at this point you can assign destroyers to these regions in here. And you can assign submarines to these ones. And there is no issue with the naval superiority in here. The issue is with the naval superiority in here. Now, despite the fact that we have enough range with battleships and light cruisers, if we try to assign them on naval invasion support, it will tell us that they are too far away from this region to give us naval supremacy. Now, we can fix this, and you can fix this by manually picking these 8 boats and sending them here. If you right-click here, they will manually go there, okay? At this point, so once they are in here, or in any of these 3 provinces, again, you select submarines and destroyers, and you pick the naval supremacy in these 3 provinces. Then you pick these 8 remaining ones, and you give them the naval supremacy command in these 3 regions. And as you can see now, everything is green. Now, while keeping the game paused, you want to trigger your naval invasion. Are we even at war? No, we're not at war yet. Okay, so let's declare on the Netherlands. And immediately, while the game is paused, trigger the naval invasion, okay? So if we unpause the game and you check them here, you will see that they left the harbor. From this time on, it doesn't matter what happens with the naval superiority. As long as your invasion starts, it will arrive. Unless it is intercepted, of course, but that will not happen. So if you look at what happens with the Navy now, you will see that automatically this fleet will go back to the starting harbor, which means at some point you will lose the naval superiority in here. See? Now we lost it in here, and we will lose it in here too. So we lost the naval supremacy in these 3 regions. But it does not matter, because the naval invasion already started. So now you keep following your units. You will see that despite not having the supremacy in here, well, now we got it again, because the fleet is following them. But even if you didn't have it anymore, even if you cancel your fleet, even if you lose your fleet entirely, this naval invasion will still happen at this point. So at this point you can play it as normal. Well, I can quickly show you how to do it, but this is a fairly easy naval invasion once it starts. Use a force attack though to disembark. That's important. And you can micromanage a little bit these divisions. Your main priority here is to cut off in the center of the Netherlands. Attack the units in here just to stop them from reinforcing. And then keep going. Okay, this is perfect. You can also push them up here. Don't be shy with force attack. Feel free to use it multiple times. It's only 10 divisions. It's not that expensive. Okay, everything looks good. And there you go. Netherlands down, invasion done. You take everything and you can continue happily with your run. Alright, so I hope this was clear, but let me know in the comments if you have any further doubts with the naval invasion. It is important that you split the fleet correctly and that you assign them correctly to the naval regions they need to cover. Alright guys, so let's get into the last topic, which is invading the UK. Actually, I have 2 saves for that. Let me show you this one first, because this was a special member request. You asked me what is the best way to invade the UK as Italy, and whether invading Ireland first and then the UK would be a good strategy, a convenient strategy. Now, by the way, this is a bit of an anticipation of a run I'm working on with Italy. This is a historical Italy run, so, well, I will show you this in the upcoming weeks, but I'm quite excited about this run. So it's a no early expansion run with Italy, which means we have a bit of a weaker economy compared to the usual Roman Empire strategy. So, first of all, your question. Should you invade Ireland before the United Kingdom or not? Well, the answer is simple here. No, you shouldn't. The reason why you shouldn't is, first of all, because it is very difficult. Okay, as you can see, we can easily get the naval superiority in the English Channel, but to invade Ireland, we need the naval superiority in here, which is easy, and in here, which is very, very difficult. So as you can see, we only have 35% naval supremacy, and that's with an intel efficiency of 107%, because we got 3 spies and a 100% built network in here. So it's very difficult to get the naval supremacy in here. But let's say that you can get the naval supremacy in there. Well, I couldn't, so I cannot show you exactly. But if you can, then you invade Ireland, then you find yourself in here without supplies, because your supply routes will be harassed by the Royal Navy. And you don't actually have an easier time invading the UK from here than you would from here. The distance is basically the same, but you will have less supplies. You will possibly lose part of your fleet invading Ireland. So, no, definitely don't go for Ireland first. If you want to take Ireland, just fabricate a claim on them, declare war on them, and then when the UK goes down, you will be able to take Ireland as well. But there is no reason to invade Ireland first before going for the UK. So let me reload the other save to show you our invasion of the UK. Now this will be a much easier invasion compared to the ones we just saw as Hungary. First of all, because it's earlier. Yeah, it's only March 1940. So of course, the later you go, the stronger the UK becomes. And also because we are kicking the UK's ass in Africa in this run as well. But also they have a lot of divisions here because we didn't call Ethiopia. So the UK is not as strong as in that run. The setup for the invasion is the same. So regardless of which country you are playing, it's always the same setup. Now, say that this part is not controlled by you, it's controlled by Germany. Assuming that you're in the Axis, you can do this in the same exact way. So it doesn't matter if Germany controls France and it is not you to control France. As long as it is a member of your faction, you can trigger the invasion. So what did we do? We selected 10 divisions for the invasion, and we planned the invasion with groups of 2. We sent 6 from Dunkirk, 2 to Dover and 2 to the neighboring provinces to stop reinforcements. And then another 4 from here, we are sending them to Portsmouth and to the neighboring province of Sussex. And this is the basic setup for the invasion. If you prefer, you can send them all from Dunkirk. It doesn't matter, it doesn't change that much. Now, the default Italian navy is enough to get the naval superiority. If you can get the air superiority, better. We didn't in this run. I didn't build enough planes, so we don't get the air superiority. But even if you don't have the air superiority, you can use a little trick. You can assign your planes somewhere, like here. And then you can immediately assign them to the channel, and you will get the air superiority for a bit. Then the UK will send their planes in there, but for a few seconds you will have the air superiority. So if you were struggling to get the naval superiority, that should help get it. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, perfect. So wait a couple of days and you get the naval supremacy. Now, if you cannot get it right away, just leave your fleet on naval invasion support, like this, and press here to trigger your naval invasion. Even if it's even if you don't have the supremacy yet, you will get it at some point. And if you pressed on trigger the invasion will just trigger when you do. Just wait a few weeks, even a few months if needed, but at some point you will get it and you will be able to trigger your invasion. Now, the other thing you asked is what kind of template should I use to invade the UK? What is the best template as Italy? Now, Italy has a mid-tier economy, especially if you don't go for early expansion. Like with my Roman Empire guide, at this point we would control Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria already. But if you don't, you will not have the strongest economy at this point of the run. So what you can do is you can build this offensive template. Now this is a template I really enjoyed using recently, and it is a mix of infantry and tank battalions. There are a few variations to this template. This is the basic one, but another thing you can do is, if you have the economy for it, is you can remove an infantry battalion and you can add another medium tank battalion. Now, of course, the more medium tank battalions you have in here, the better the stats will be, because medium tanks offer much better stats than infantry. It will also increase the hardness and the armor of the template. But for example, in this run, I could not afford to make this template, especially because I wanted 2 full 24 offensive divisions with this basic template here. Of course, if you only care about the invasion of the UK, you can simply make 10, and you can afford to make them with one more tank battalion. It's up to you. By the way, I will soon make a dedicated guide for the best templates 2025 for infantry, for tank designs, air designs, and so on. And let me give you a little anticipation. The core point will be flexibility. You don't need to use the same template. It's not true, and don't trust people who tell you there is one meta template and everything else is garbage. That's not true. Many templates work very well in this game. This is one of them. And this is another one of them. And if you cannot afford to make tanks, then what you can do is you can do the same thing, but with artillery. The same exact thing that we showed with Hungary. So you can go for this very solid template, 12-2. It has some soft attack. Of course, it's not as good. In this case, we get more soft attack, but as you can see, it's not that massive difference. The main difference is in terms of hardness, armor, and breakthrough. But soft attack is still the most important stat. So don't worry if you cannot use tanks, just use some artillery. Trust me, don't listen to anyone who tells you that line artillery is bad. Line artillery can be very good. Speaking of which, another option here, if you want, is you can add 2 more artillery battalions and you can remove some infantry battalions. Try to aim at a combat width of 30. And then how you achieve it in terms of infantry artillery is up to you. More artillery means more soft attack, but slightly worse stats overall. It's also more expensive. And less artillery means a cheaper template, less soft attack, and better overall stats. Up to you. Another thing you can do as Italy is, since you have some nice focuses for special forces, like for example this one, and you start with Grand Battle Plan, what you could do is you could pick Tip of the Spear and you could focus on special forces. Specifically Mountaineers. Mountaineers can be very good, even if it is a naval invasion. If you pick Mountaineers and you make a similar template but with Mountaineers, and then you invest in the special forces doctrines for Mountaineers, if you have them, of course, then you can make your Mountaineers incredibly strong. So Mountaineers are another viable option. You can watch the dedicated video I made for invading the United Kingdom, and all of the templates I showed in that video are perfectly viable, totally good for Italy as well. Okay, so let's see how the invasion actually goes after explaining it. And this will be a smooth one. You will see the difference compared to the previous one with Hungary, because the UK will have a lot less divisions defending. Always use force attack if you can when disembarking. Oh, they must have some divisions in there. Oh, 6 divisions in there. Look at that. Never seen them with so many divisions there. Interesting. That's actually good. They will lose all of them. You always learn something new here. Every run is different. We do have better divisions than we did with Hungary, but this is actually not easy at all. That's perfect. That's a very good showcase. Okay, now we can merge all of our divisions together. Trigger the offensive immediately. Don't want to waste any time in here. Micromanage a bit to take the Cornwall area, while you keep the pressure up along the entire front. In this case, I think we will easily kill these guys. Now here you can try to rush this area as fast as possible. Well, this template is really good. It's very satisfying to use. Consider that we don't have any air superiority in here. Despite that, destroying them. Things are going quite smoothly here. I'm really not microing. As you can see, sometimes I do click somewhere with my units, but I'm mostly letting them push with the default offensive line that we gave them. As you can see, it's working quite well. That's it. UK down. Well, in this case, we do have to share some war score with Germany because we were playing it in a more historical way. But yeah. So there you go. This is the best way, in my opinion, to invade the UK as Italy, and the best template, or the template I would use if you can afford it. The peace conference will be for another time. So for now, let's just leave everything to Germany, just for fun. This run will be coming soon, guys, so make sure not to miss it. And this was the last request for today. But guys, if you have more requests, feel free to let me know in the comments. You can send me your disaster saves as well. You can always ask for help. From time to time, whenever I can, I try to make these videos to answer some of your requests, the most common ones, to help you out. So again, feel free to ask anytime. And now, of course, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and leaving a comment. As you know, comments really help with YouTube, so the more, the better. Other than that, guys, if you stayed with me until now, thank you for watching, and I will see you all very soon in the next video. Bye bye!